Hello, my dears. How are you this quiet evening? I hope you're all doing extremely well, and I hope that you are simply divine. Tonight, I'm going to have to tell you the story of one of my very dearest friends at the moment. And his name is Rumpelstiltskin. Some people prefer to call him by a nickname as Rumple, and others will call him the Dark One, or just Rumpelstiltskin, as most folks have known him to be. So, let's get started, shall we? Let's see where to begin. Well, there once was a miller girl who was very, very wretchedly, awfully poor, really. But he had a very beautiful daughter. Now, it once happened that he had an occasion to speak with the king, and in order to give himself an air of importance, he said, "I have a daughter who can spin gold out of straw." Can you imagine a peasant doing that? That's just no. Nope. That's not going to happen now. Well, let's see. The king said to the miller, I believe he said this at least, is that it is an art in which I am most muchly interested in. If your daughter is as skillful as you say she is, bring her to my castle tomorrow, and I will put her to the test. Now, accordingly, when the girl had brought to the castle, the king conducted her to a chamber in which was quite full of straw. Really, it was a ginormous pile. But he gave her a spinning wheel and a reel and said, "Now, set to work, and if between tonight and tomorrow at dawn you have not spun this straw into gold, you must die." Thereupon he carefully locked the door of the chamber, where she remained alone, like she was supposed to be. Of course, my dear friend Rumple is just such a wonderful man that he just did one of the most wonderful things ever. Quite a trickster, but very funny. Such a kindly older man. So there sat the unfortunate miller's daughter, and for the life of her did not know what to do. She had not the least idea how to spin straw into gold, and you can ask Rumpelstiltskin about that. He will definitely tell you. And she became more and more distressed until at last she began to cry and weep and sob. Then all at once the door sprang open, and in stepped the little man, who said, "Good evening, Mistress Miller, dearie. What are you weeping so for?" "Alas," answered her, "I've got to spin gold out of straw, and I don't know how to do it." Well, because Rumple is such a nice man, he said, "What will you give me if I spin it for you?" "My necklace, of course," she replied. And Rumple took the necklace, sat down before the spinning wheel like such a gentleman that he is, and whirring in a trice the reel was full. He fixed another reel, whirring thrice round, and that it was too full. And so it went on until morning, when all the straw was spun and all the reels were full of gold. Immediately at sunrise, of course, the king came, and when he saw the gold he was astonished and much pleased, but in mind became only more various. So he had the miller's daughter taken to another chamber full of straw, larger than the former one, and he ordered her to spin it also in one night, as if she valued her life, which I don't know anyway. He was too nice. I would have done away with her immediately. The maiden was at her wits' end and began to weep. Then again the door sprang open, and of course Rumple came up and said, "What will you give me if I spin straw into gold for you?" You see, he's quite the man of deals. He really loves them. She said, "The ring off my finger." And of course he took the ring and began to whir again at the wheel, and by morning he had spun all the straw into gold, because he's such a generous man, you see. The king was delighted at the sight of the masses of gold, but he wasn't even yet satisfied. So he had the miller's daughter taken to his still larger chamber full of straw, and said, "This you must spin tonight into gold, but if you succeed you shall become my queen." Some queen she was. She was a horrible queen. I'm much better than her, but that's not part of the story. I'm sorry. We're continuing. Well, let's see, where was I? Alright, yes. Even if she's only a miller's daughter, I think he thought at least, I shan't find another richer woman in the whole world, you see. Because he still thought that she had spun all of this herself, and that's not true now, we know. Well, when the girl was alone, of course, Rumpelstiltskin, the blessed man he is, came again, and said for the third time, "What will you give me if I spin straw for you this time?" Well, of course, she was, "I have nothing more to give." Well, Rumple, being the wonderful man, he said, "Well, promise me your first child if you become queen," and I think that's a fair trade. That sounds fair enough, huh? Yes, that's what I thought too. I'm glad to see you agree. Now, where were we? Let's see. Well, the woman said, "Who knows what may happen?" But she did not see any other way to get out of this difficulty, so she promised him what he demanded, and in return he spun the straw into gold once more. When the king came in the morning, he found everything as he had wished. He had celebrated his marriage with her, and the miller's daughter became queen. About a year afterwards, a beautiful child was born, but the queen had forgotten all about my poor friend. What a rotten girl. However, he suddenly entered her chamber and said, "Now give me what you promised." Of course, the queen was terrified, as she should have been, and offered the little man all the wealth of the kingdom if he would let her keep the child. But of course, since he spins straw into gold, why would he want that wealth? He would rather have something living than all the treasures of the world, of course. Then, of course, that girl began to moan and weep to such an extent that Rumpelstiltskin, too soft of a man, he felt sorry for her and said, "I will give you 3 days." And he said, "And if within that time you discover my name, you shall keep the child." He's too soft. I would never have said that. I'm stronger than that. But he is such a gentleman, and a gentleman is really a good thing. Anyway, where was I? Let's see. Oh yes, the name is. So during the night, the queen called to maid all of the names that she had ever heard, and sent a messenger all over the country to inquire far and wide what the other names there were. When the little man appeared the next day, little man is what he called Rumple, that's why I'm referring to that. Well, she began with Casper, Melchior, Balthazar, and mentioned all of the names in which she knew, and one after the other. But every time Rumple said, No, that is not my name." The second day she had inquiries made all around, just to find the names of people living there and suggested that he probably had the most unusual and strange name, in which I would say, yes, that's probably true. So she suggested perhaps your name is Corwhips or Spindleshanks or Spinderlegs. But once again, of course, he answered, no, that is not my name. On the third day, the messengers came back and said, I haven't been able to find any new names, but I came around the corner of the wood on a lofty mountain, where the fox said good night to the hare, and saw a little house. In front of the house was a fire burning. Around the fire, a most ridiculous little man was sleeping, and he was hopping on one leg and singing, Today I bake, tomorrow I brew my beer. The next day I will bring the queen's child here. Ah, lucky it is thou such a soul doth know, that Rumplestilskin is my name. Oh ho. Now, Rumple at this age was maybe 300 years old. He's not very smart at this age, of course, so you can understand why he was so excited, of course. I hope you can relate. So you can imagine how wonderfully delighted that queen was when she heard the name. And soon afterwards, when the little man, she called him, came and asked, Now, your majesty, what is my name? At first she asked, Is your name Tom? What an imbecile little girl, anyway. No. Is it Dick? No. Is it by chance Rumpelstiltskin? The devil told you that? The devil told you that? Shrieked the little man, which was probably true. She was such a horrible girl. And, of course, in a rage, he stamped his right foot into the ground so deep he sank up to his waist. He's never made that mistake again, I can assure you. Well, in his rage, he had seized his left leg with both hands and tore himself asunder in the middle. Of course, he was put back together again by me because I'm such a wonderful person, obviously. Well, now you know the story, my dear friend Rumple, and I hope that you will see things our way. And I hope you had a wonderful